Gigantic G Zombie here, currently painting my DV flag as I prepare to riot at in front of the Sony headquarters. Oh my god. Yeah, so I have been getting into Destiny 2 again, and I plan on getting back into raiding at the beginning of this week. Not, oh my god, not the beginning of this week. At the end of this week on Friday, I plan on getting back into raiding. And yeah, this is one of the few times where I'm agreeing with Xbox of all companies, and I am a Sony loyalist, so you can understand how I feel when my favorite console brand is fucking my favorite looter shooter. Like I'm all twisted in the head here, but I digress. That is not going to be the topic. Not a topic. Well, it's gonna have one connection, but it's gonna be a little more broad. It's not. I'm not gonna talk about D2 the entire time, but I wanted to talk about something that I have learned the hard way, and I have seen it repeated in both my friends, and I have seen it. So I've seen it in me, my friends, and in gaming companies do this, to where I want to talk about being too ambitious. That's the topic of this episode of The Gathering Horde. I think it's episode 3. Yeah, episode 3. Being too ambitious. Now, oftentimes in movies or other videos on YouTube, there's going to be plenty of people that tell you to go chase your dreams and that, if you have a dream, you should go chase it. Don't listen to anyone else tell you you shouldn't go for them and all that stuff. And that's all well and good. Nothing wrong with that. But they never tell you the caveat to that. They never tell you the other side of that coin. Like, you can go chase for your dreams. They don't tell you that if you actually want them to come true, you're gonna have to work your ass off. Like, every single day. And then even when they come true, you have to work every single day maintaining it. I guess I'll get the lesson out the way. Is just a caveat of you can chase your dreams. That's all well and good. But that doesn't mean they're just gonna magically come true. All right, you need to work for it. They're not, and it's not gonna be a small investment either. You're gonna need to make a huge investment, sometimes in money, most likely in time. It's gonna be something, but it's most likely gonna be time or money. It's gonna be one of those things. That's just how the world works nowadays, or like forever. I'm acting like today is the day where things cost things. No, that's just how the world works in general. But I digress. I actually have a few examples of me seeing uh, going too far into ambition. It's more like going too far into ambition without a plan for it. So I will. I'm gonna start with myself because I'm not gonna sit here and point fingers at everyone else and think that I'm I'm outside of the issue. Like, I think the first time I've seen this was in myself, and that is again with the Eternal Empire. Now, thing is, the Eternal Empire, I haven't given up on it, but it's more I want to avoid being too ambitious again and losing it again. Because I think I've gone through 3 whole losses so far, and it starts getting uh, demoralizing after a while. Like, I can already hear it in my head. Oh, it's the Eternal Empire, then why did it end? And all that. And I'm like, I can't argue with that, because, yeah, I shot myself in the foot, and then I shot myself in the foot with a nail gun, and then decided to burn it with a Molotov. Like, that is what I ended up doing with the Eternal Empire. And I could point fingers at everyone else all day, saying that, oh, I can't do it all by myself and that other people need to log on to help out. But, like, at the end of the day, the responsibility lays on me. And I need to have a backup plan to ensure that the Empire is preserved, and I did not do that. And the and that's pretty much how I went to. I was way too ambitious because every time I tried getting the Empire started, I tried spreading out to too many maps way too soon or taking too long. It was a weird mixture of both, where like we had it good. We were spread across a bunch of maps, and it was nice. But the problem is that it's all fine and dandy when you're used to the routine of like transmitting your character to the other maps. But when you start doing it for like the fourth month in a row, and you have to wait like 5 to 10 minutes just to get your character on a separate map, and you have to do it like 5 more times, you start saying fuck it. Like it gets really annoying after a while, and you might think that, oh well, that's a very small thing for something as for a cool group project, but it starts to grow on you after a while, and I think that is an example of me being too ambitious, trying to spread out to too many maps. Now that doesn't mean I don't want to go to that many maps, but the Eternal Empire is definitely something I need to take my time with. And yeah, that I need to take my time with that one. I mean, if I stay true to the name, I have all eternity to do it, so that's not an issue. Shameless plug. But anyway, that's my example of it. And I've also seen it in my friends. I kind of feel bad for saying this, but I have to mention it because every time it happens, I even mention this. I'm like, you want to be careful doing this. So, uh, there was a time, there are actually two times, one long ago and one fairly recently, where my friend Hulk wanted to make a clan. He wanted to make a clan in Warframe and Destiny 2. I think those were the two games that he really wanted to make a clan in. And I love the man, and I truly believed he was passionate about the project, but I also knew that I knew he was passionate about the project. Everyone around him, including myself, was not. And that was the main issue, is that if he wanted to make the clans work out, he would need to be putting enough passion to encourage others to follow the passion as well. And what I mean by that is that he would need to show newcomers to his supposed clan a reason to join his supposed clan and to stay in his supposed clan and to be just as active as him in this supposed clan, to the point where you would grow the numbers and build it up. Now, again, I'm not trying to shit talk him. Like I said, I'm guilty of this as well, and that's why I saw it in him. Why I saw it in this clan, because I saw the same thing I was doing, and I'm like, stretching yourself out a little too much over a little too little. And I don't think I said it like that, but I tried warning him while still being encouraging. Like I'm not a doomer. I'm not gonna say like, oh, you can't do it. It's like I just wasn't sure, and it did ended up being exactly what I thought. And the clans didn't work out. He actually did get a little far with the Warframe clan, but then eventually he got out of Warframe and he got out of touch with that clan. I could be completely wrong. Maybe he's still like talking to those people, but as far as I'm concerned, I think that clan is fizzled out into the abyss. And again, I'm not shit talking him, but I do just want to be real and say that that was a mistake that happened. Now, I'm gonna add a little positive spin, because if he watches this video, I don't want him to think that I'm hating on him, because I think recently he made a I don't know if he made it, but he's making a plan of like a Minecraft realm called Wonderland. And he actually made like a whole little notepad talking about Wonderland. It's supposed to be a place where you build with friends. Now, I think it's also a uh, no no rules zone, meaning that if you wanted to square up with someone, you could just square up someone in the street. That's what I read. I could be wrong, but my point of mentioning that is that I think he's learned. I think he learned from that, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he's just getting better at it. I don't know. He seems to be learning from that, and I'm glad to see it because as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh hell yeah, oh hell yeah. Like I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried at all for a second that he was overstretching himself. I think he actually has a plan with the whole thing, and I'm gonna be like a cheerleader for that shit. Gonna see me dancing around in the corner with those freaking puff and full beard, by the way, full beard. Oh my god, that's gonna be a horrifying sight. Oh my god. Anyway, but yeah, I've seen it in my friend Hulk. I've also seen it in my friend Jay. Oh yeah, I'm going for everyone. I'm going for everyone now. Uh, Jay wasn't as nearly as bad because I think his Jay also made a Minecraft road called Rainfall, and he was putting a lot of time into it, but it's kind of stagnated, similar to my Eternal Empire. And I don't think he's giving up on it either, but at the same time, it has become such a huge project for him to do by himself that it's becoming burdensome. And again, that is an example of being too ambitious. And again, I'm not dooming on his project. I've seen it personally. It looks really cool. He has some really cool ideas. And I will not spoil, by the way. If you want to go see his Rainfall, you can go check out his YouTube channel in the description below. But, yeah, that is another example of his project getting way too big. Like, it just got way too big for him to build everything every single day. And then eventually the plan was to make a YouTube series on it and to have everyone react to the world with all the new mods. Also, because he's on console trying to do mods, he's like constantly trying to stress test mods and all that. It's just a lot. It's a lot, and it doesn't help that the people participating had internet issues, so you know didn't work out nearly as well. That's not on him, but still, it just wasn't easy, and he got overstretched. And I say that with still hope that he will finish it, but like that's just an example of stretching yourself too far. Now, that's just the local examples between me and my main friend group. That's just between me. I've also seen this happen in gaming studios. Now, I think everyone is going to know more about this, and this is where Destiny 2 is going to come into play. Yeah. Bungie. I love you, Bungie. Or at least I love the devs at Bungie. The executives can go kiss my ass because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They really don't know what the hell they're doing. Apparently, when Sony got them, they made plans for them, or maybe the executive made plans. I don't know who made the plans. I forget who did it. But they made plans to have this studio that was getting smaller and smaller by the day to make 4 games at the same time, which is a bit insane. And you might be thinking, well, it's not that crazy. Yeah, it wasn't that crazy before they started laying off everyone. Yeah, you can't really make 4 games while firing most of your damn workers. That's not how the maths, man. That's not how you do it. That's definitely being over ambitious and being dumb to boot. Alright? Like, goodness gracious. Like, it's not really surprising when you see this issue in corporate because it's not like, oh, they're blind to a dream. No, they're blind to the money and they don't really think about, and they're blind to the money and they're lazy. They don't wanna invest more money and more manpower. They want to do the opposite: less money, less manpower, but big results anyway. Don't go ahead and do it. And then when shit hits the fan and they don't get the 4 games out, and the 1 game they do push out is delayed from the previous date they had for the game to come out, and that game ends up being a very niche game, and then the fans of Destiny 2 find out that that game is basically being a parasite for Destiny 2, and then all of the Destiny 2 players are hating on that game. Yeah, you basically just heard the origin story of Marathon right there. Goodness gracious. That is some tomfuckery in a nutshell. That is some tomfuckery. But it's not only just Bungie. I think another very popular example is Cyberpunk 2077. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 is an example of many different failures. It's great nowadays, all right. But the point is that when it was released, the point is before it released, it had many promises of a very immersive world with like a bunch of different NPCs in it, all kinds of side quests. Like they pretty much went the route of like promising a game that could do pretty much everything, and having all kinds of dynamic systems left and right. And I remember one where like you would see gang fights or something. I think they did add that later on, but like I forget. There was something. There was some promise that they made in Cyberpunk 2077 that like they absolutely did not do, and they basically were trying to make a single player game that did everything and had every single kind of immersive mechanic you can think of, and the game that came out was not even 1% of those things, and it was a glitchy mess to boot, and it ended up being one of the biggest freaking embarrassments for the company. And that is another prime example of being too ambitious when a gaming studio is trying to stretch themselves so far out to being everything that they end up doing nothing. And it luckily Cyberpunk got out of that mess and made itself a very decent game with a very decent story and a very good DLC from what I hear. But that doesn't excuse what they did before, where they made a bunch of false promises and then fixed them later. That's not how gaming should work, but that's how it's panning out to be, unfortunately. And another example that I want to mention, just because, I'm kind of in that mood, seeing Destiny 2 get its final update is reminding me of a lot of wasted potential. And I think a prime example of wasted potential is Anthem. Now, as soon as I mention that, some people might want to spit at me. Some people may know exactly what I'm talking about. But, like, for those who want to spit at me, hear me out. Alright? I'm not saying it was a perfect game. Not at all. That's my point, actually, is that they had such great potential. Like, you got you gotta be real here. A game where you could basically be Iron Man, and they invested so much into the flight system, like it felt like you were Iron Man. Like you would fly around, and then when you landed, every single landing was like a superhero landing. And my favorite class was I forget what it was, but it was basically the Warlock one with a shoulder cloak, and you had lightning strikes come down. I loved that class so much, just because the drip was amazing. That character was so good. And if that game survived long enough, that would have been my main. But unfortunately, before Anthem could even get its revamp, its Anthem 2.0 to bring it back, similar to how Destiny 2 brought itself back, it died. And then later on, they pulled the plug. I couldn't even go back to the game. You cannot play Anthem anymore. In fact, I have it in my wish list just to see that it was there, because I know if I remove it, I will never find Anthem in the store ever again. And that's sad. Now I know I could probably try to play it by like trying to get a key like a Steam key or something. But like, the fact of the matter is, it's still not a perfect game, and for a game that's not even getting an update, I'm not gonna spend like $80 on it. All right, like, no, I'm not that crazy, but I still wish that that its potential was fully realized. And why I include it into a topic of being too ambitious is because this was a studio that I think it was BioWare, which was famous for single-player story games, and doing that in they tried doing that with Anthem, where they tried making like an open world game, a looter shooter game, and an immersive multi-choice story game. And whenever you have those in a back-to-back series, it is like the chemical compound for a nuclear bomb to blow up your entire project and turn into a pile of chemical shit. Like, it never ends well. You do not have those things and have a good game come out of it. Usually when you have open world games, it is a single player game that is a very linear experience otherwise, or its full focus is the open world, and they take a lot more time to invest in the open world and side quests and a very linear experience similar to like The Witcher 3 or something, or Witcher 3, or the recent God of War games, or Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yote. Yes, I just listed a bunch of PlayStation games. Look, I'm still a PlayStation loyalist, alright? That doesn't mean I'm happy with what Sony's doing, alright? But still, point is that like, you can't just add open world into something and expect it to be really good. No. Open world, when done poorly, just feels like a bloated, bland, freaking walking simulator. Like, it does not magically make it feel good. Alright? There are linear games that make you feel better than just an open world game. And having a multi-choice game is very rarely does a multi-choice game actually feel good in anything but a Telltale game, because they focus purely on the story. And when they focus purely on the story, they focus on making those decisions feel very meaningful. And even then, there's still an argument saying that the choices don't matter, but that's more debatable than something like Anthem. All right. I'll add another example in here of the same type of uh, overambition. Freaking Dying Light 2. The biggest reason why it had that was because uh, cause it wasn't as bad as the previous examples, but it definitely suffered from trying to invest in a huge open world and multi-choice, in a multiple choice game. Now, in Dying Light the Base, they didn't take that away necessarily, but they didn't make it. They didn't make it to where like the choices were supposed to matter to the open world and change your ending and all that. Like, not no. Like, you had multiple dialogue options in Dying Light the Beast, but that was more just to get more story and lore out of it. That was it. The story was very linear, and they stuck to a very simplistic story, and that was to the game's benefit. Dying Light 2 tried being a huge, expansive story, and it ended up falling on itself because it was just a bunch of bloat. So, yeah. Overambition is a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing. It is a destroyer of dreams rather than the fulfillment of your dreams. But all that is to say is that while I talk about that as a danger, I talk about it as a danger, but for those who have dreams that they want to achieve, I only say this as a reality check, not as discouragement. Alright, if you truly want something, and you really want something, then what I just said it would be second nature to you. I'm pretty damn sure, because if you really want something, you're gonna want to work hard on it, and then half the time it won't even feel like work, and the other time it will most definitely feel like a second job, but you'll want it so bad that you're gonna do it anyway. And if you think that you don't got it, like let me be the voice to say you do got it. If you want it, you definitely got it. All right. If you think you're dumb, you can learn. If you think you have done it before, you can learn. All right. I'm learning right now as we speak. I'm learning how to make videos and all that, and uh, I'm actually gonna leave a little announcement at the end of this. But like, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I have learned a lot more about making videos now compared to my PlayStation self, where I edit videos from the PlayStation thing. Yeah, so me getting a computer, me getting a new editing software, and then later on getting a new headset and a new microphone to talk to, the microphone I'm talking to you right now. Like, I've learned a lot more about making videos, and because of my friend Jay, I learned how to make thumbnails that are a lot better than what I made before on freaking thumbnail maker on my phone. Okay, it was embarrassing. Now I still use my phone for some things, but that's more like I use it to change colors and all that. But anyway, my point is that you could the message remains the same. I've never saying that you cannot go chase your dreams. Just keep in mind, you're gonna have to work for it. But if you want it, you can do it. Just don't get lost in the fever dream. All right, make sure you understand what you gotta do. But if you want it, you can do it. You can do it. All right, as my favorite YouTuber would always say, the only thing holding you back is you. That is it. Once you get past that, you can do anything you want, and it's never too late to do anything you want. Alright? You can do anything, and it is never too late. Alright. That is my topic of today, but I'm gonna leave a little announcement that's kind of bittersweet, but it's gonna make it a lot easier for me to make videos. So, my idea is that, since I have this new mic, I feel like it would be either wrong or unprofessional for me to release a weekly video of the older mic to finish the series that are unfinished. Now, I'm not going to delete those videos, or I'm not going to delete that footage. I'm going to get more storage so that I can go with a workflow of throughout the week when I stream and record something, or if I just record something, whatever I did that week or the week before, that is going to be the thing I edit for the week. That is going to be the thing I edit and push out for the week. So you're not going to be seeing a lot of the series be finished, but that doesn't mean that I'm like well, I guess I'm abandoning them for now, but like I'm willing to go back to them. And if for whatever reason someone watches a series and is like, man, why didn't this series get finished? Like I'm gonna see that comment. I'm gonna see that comment. I'll be like, all right, you know what? There's an interest in this. I will pull up those the footage, and I will start editing the next episode of that series. So obviously, as the demand, I will do it. All right, I am not just going to ignore everyone and say my art is so much more important than the voice of the people. No, but yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention is that I've mentioned the whole like in another. I think it was the last one. Yeah, the last Gathering Horde episode. I mentioned that I have a problem deciding what game to play. So I'm going to do a thing where one day in the week, I don't know what day it's going to be. I still don't know what day it's going to be, but I'm gonna make this a thing where one day of the week I'm just gonna choose a game. Like I'm gonna choose a game. I'm gonna spin a wheel or something, flip a coin, whatever device. Let God decide what game I'm going to play, and that will be the game I play that day. And that will be a stream idea. And again, because of what I'm doing whatever footage I get. That is going to be the footage I edit and push out. So, yeah, you're going to see a lot more random games throughout the weeks, but it'll only be like one game. Now, if I really like that game, I might play it multiple times during the week, but one way or another, I'm going to just play a game. And if I don't like the game to a huge extent, then, the next week, just spin the wheel again and play a different game. Just do it like that. But anyway, thank you for listening to me talk for 30 minutes straight. I did not realize that I was talking for 30 minutes straight. Good Lord. And I hope your Tuesday is going well. And I hope your Monday was not nearly as bad. Well, I acted it was as if mine was bad. It was tiring, like any Monday is, but it wasn't anything I couldn't handle. So, yeah. I hope your Tuesday's going well. And I hope the rest of your week goes well. And I hope to see you again. So without further ado, I should bid you all adieu.